Hey everyone, Mr. Macintosh here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install Raspberry Pi Desktop OS on your older unsupported Mac that Apple no longer supports with Mac OS. This continues my series, then showing you how to install newer operating systems to keep your old Mac running, whether it's Mac OS Big Sur, Mac OS Monterey, Windows 10, or even Chrome OS. By the time we're done with this video, you're going to have a workable operating system that is fast, secure, and reliable for years to come. We got a lot to cover. Let's jump in and get started. Technology moves really fast, and that's why I put an updates in a chapter section in the description of this video, so you're always staying up to date with all the changes that might happen after the release of this video, along with detailed chapters to get you exactly where you need to go. Today marks the 10th anniversary of Raspberry Pi, and I thought it would be really wonderful to go over and show you how to install Raspberry Pi OS onto your older unsupported Mac. I want to give you as many options as possible so you can find the perfect one that's just for you that'll work on your Mac, and that's why I want to show you how to install Raspberry Pi Desktop OS that is run on top of Debian Linux today. So let's get into what you're going to need to know before we get started. First of all, this is a big warning here that the way we're going to install today erases the entire contents of the Mac's hard drive to install Debian Linux and then Raspberry Pi Desktop OS over the top of it. Now, if you want to be able to do a dual boot situation, that is possible, but that's a little bit outside the scope of this video. Let me know in the comments below if that's something that you would like me to see do. The next thing is hardware. We'll need a USB drive that's 8 gigabytes or larger, and I always recommend a 3.0 or 3.1 for the speed of the installation. Also, we're going to need a computer to be able to create the USB driver install. So if you have a second Mac or a Windows device, that's fine. That'll be able to install it. But this third option says is that you can do it on both. So for example, on our Mac that we're going to be using today is a 2010 Mac Mini that we'll be using to create the installer USB on before we get started here. And then finally, the software that we're going to need. We're going to need the Raspberry Pi Desktop Installation ISO, and we're going to need a little application that's called Etcher that will help us write the ISO to our USB flash drive. Now let's talk about which Mac models Raspberry Pi Desktop OS supports. I always try to go all the way back as far as we possibly can for support to show you how usable the operating system is. So in this example, I'm using a mid-2010 Mac Mini with a spinning 5400 RPM hard drive. So that should give us a pretty good picture of how the operating system works. I even installed it on a 2009 Mac Mini, and it still ran well, except for example, the Wi-Fi wasn't working. So that wireless card was not supported, but Ethernet did work on that model. So that's why I'm going to say 2010 all the way up to 2015 is supported. I didn't test it on any newer Intels, but it should work. But I stopped at 2015 because Mac OS Monterey is supported on 2015 and newer Macs. Okay, the next thing we'll have to do is download the Raspberry Pi Desktop OS ISO. So all you need to do is go to this link right here and then scroll down and click on the download button. And it'll start to download the ISO. The ISO itself is 3.09 gigabytes. We'll give this download a second. We'll be right back. The Raspberry Pi OS ISO has finished downloading. Now we can use that to image it to our USB drive. Let's plug in our USB drive now. Okay, we can see our USB drive has loaded onto the desktop. If you want, you can go in, make sure that we back up any data here now. Go into there and save any files in there because the entire USB drive is going to be erased. So make sure we go into Disk Utility, and then we want to select View, and then click Show All Devices, and then go under External here. Click on the top level drive, click Erase. The name doesn't matter. Extended journal is fine, and the GUID partition map, click Erase. Okay, now it's done. Now we have to download a tool that is going to help us write the ISO to the USB drive. So now I'll put a link in the description for that, and it's also in the instructions to download Etcher. So all you need to do is click on Download for Mac OS. And it's going to put it right into our downloads folder here. The application is about 100 megabytes in size. We'll unpack the DMG of Etcher. Okay, all we need to do is drag to our applications folder. As you can see, it's copying over here. There we go. We can close this window and then eject the DMG from the desktop. Right click on it or control click and click on eject. Okay, now that that's ready, we can start up the application. Click on open. Now all we need to do is click on this button here to select the ISO. Then we'll click this target USB, and then it'll install that directly to the USB drive. So let's click on Flash from a file. And then it'll be in our downloads folder. And there is our ISO here. Click on open. Now we need to select the target, click on this, and we'll select our USB drive, click on select, and then all we need to do is click on flash. And then it's going to start to write the media, unpack the ISO, and write the media to the USB drive. We'll type in our administrator password here to begin. It's going to take, depending on the speed of your drive, anywhere between 3 and 8 minutes. And we'll be right back as soon as it's done. Okay, the flashing is complete, and when it's done, you'll see a message like this: the disk that you inserted was not readable by this computer, and that's totally fine because the way that it formatted the USB is not readable by Mac OS anymore. So all I need to do is click on ignore. Now, before we begin and erase this hard drive and install Raspberry Pi Desktop OS, I wanted to talk about an extra option that's available on the USB installer. It's just like the Chrome OS video. If you watch that Chrome OS has a separate partition 2 that lets you try out Chrome OS first before you install it, and Raspberry Pi OS has the same thing, so you can test drive Raspberry Pi OS and Debian Linux first to see if you like it before you install and erase your hard drive and install the operating system. It'll be the second EFI partition in the boot selection menu, and I'll show you that before we begin. But right now, one final warning, because we are going to be erasing the drive and installing Raspberry Pi Desktop OS, so back up any files you have on your Mac first before we begin. So here we go. We're going to click on Apple here and click on Restart, and we're going to hold down the Option key on our keyboard to be able to see the boot selection screen here. Okay, there's our chime. Holding down Option key to get the boot selection menu here, and there it is. Now here's those two options. This one right here will boot us into the test drive so we can see how it works. But this one is the installation one, so we'll click on that. And if you find out that sometimes they're not in the right order, that's okay. Just reboot and then select the other one, and that will be, because unfortunately they're both named EFI Boot. So we'll click on that one here, and here's the installer. So what we want to do is click the down button here for the Graphical install, and then hit enter. And then it's going to boot into the Debian Linux installer. You'll see a little bitty flashing cursor, and then it's starting the installer here. And there it is. We're at the selection screen. The first thing we're going to do is select the language, and then click continue. Now it's going to detect hardware, so we'll give it a second for this to finish. Okay, now it's detecting the disks. Now this is the part where it will talk about how to partition the drive to be able to install Debian Linux and Raspberry Pi OS. Okay, from here we're going to click on use the entire disk and then click on continue. Now it's going to say which disk do you want to do it on. It's also going to detect that your USB drive is here, and you can tell by the size. Obviously the hard drive is 500 gigabytes and the USB could be that, but most likely it's going to be anywhere between 8 and 64 gigabytes or 128 for example. So we know that the internal hard drive is 500 gigabytes. We're going to click on continue. Now we're at the partitioning disks menu. We are going to select all files in one partition and then click on continue. Now it's going to give us one last overview of the current setup. It's also going to set up a swap partition of 1 gigabyte in size, and then it is already highlighted on finish partitioning and write changes to disk. We'll click on continue. And one final warning here, and then we want to save the changes to disks. We want to click on yes and then click on continue. And there it goes. It's going to set up and partition the disks and begin the installation. Okay, the partitioning is complete. Now it's going to install the system onto the hard drive. We'll be right back as soon as that's finished. Okay, the file copy and installation is finished. Now the configuration of the package manager has started. Okay, now the Grub bootloader is getting installed onto the hard drive. We're almost complete here. Okay, the finish of the installation is almost done. We're at the final step here. Okay, the installation is complete, so it's time to boot into your new system. Make sure you remove the installation media so that you boot into the new system rather than restarting the installation. So I'm going to remove the USB now, and then we'll click on continue. Okay, the USB is removed. Now let's click on continue here. Okay, the progress bar finished all the way to the end. We've got an automatic reboot. We heard the chime, and here we go. We've got our Debian Linux boot screen, it automatically boots right into the operating system from that screen. You don't have to click enter or anything. And we're up and running to boot to the operating system for the first time. Welcome to Raspberry Pi Desktop powered by Debian. We'll give it a second here and it's going to pop up with a setup assistant. And here it is. Welcome to Raspberry Pi. Welcome to Raspberry Pi Desktop. Before you start using it, there's a few things to set up. Click on Next to get started. First of all, we got to set our country, language, and time zone. Okay, we're setting our location. Now what we need to do is set the password for the primary Pi user account. You can set anything you want here and click on Next. Now we can connect to our Wi-Fi network. We'll wait for it to finish the scan. Now keep in mind, I did mention that right around 2010, 2009, it starts getting a little bit sketchy on the support for the Wi-Fi Bluetooth card. For example, the 2010 Mac Mini fully supports the card. As you can see, we've got a full list out of Wi-Fi endpoints, but if you get back to 2009, it does not read the card and only Ethernet works at this point. I'm not saying that you couldn't get it to work with a little bit of research, but that's where it starts to lose a little bit of the compatibility. So we'll click on our Wi-Fi and connect right now. Okay, as you can see, we are now at the software update window, and you can see up here that we have full Wi-Fi connectivity and we have Bluetooth working, so that's great. Because this software update part does not work, it needs to update through the terminal. I'll show you how to do that first. We can click next and you can see what's going to happen here. It's going to give us an error that the package locations has changed, and that's fine. We'll let this finish here and then I'll show you how to update the system, because that's the whole key here, is keeping an operating system on your Mac that's fully supported by security updates, whether it's from Apple with Monterey Big Sur, or Chrome OS from Google, or even Windows 10 from Microsoft. So as you can see here, that's where the error comes up. We're checking for the updates. Don't worry, we'll fix that after. And then we'll click on done here. Now we're on the desktop and we have our start menu up here at the beginning here. We can go to all these different, we have a full Office suite here for free. We have our Chromium web browser here, and we have other settings like graphics, games, accessories, preferences, shutdown, and restart. So let's go, and the first thing we'll do, as you can see, we have full internet here. Great. Now what we'll do is we want to run our software updates. So let's do that now. So the first thing we'll do is we'll open up a command console by clicking on the terminal window here. And you notice that it's really close to the terminal application on Mac OS. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run a check of the catalogs for the software update and update them. Then we're going to run a full software update. When that's done, we can start using the operating system. What we're going to be using is apt-update, which is called the advanced packaging tool. So let's do that first. We'll do sudo apt-update, sudo apt-update, and then an enter. It does detect that there was changes like we saw earlier, and it's going to be able to update those changes to the list. Now we'll click on yes, and then we will click on yes. We want to continue updating from the repository, and then we want to accept the changes, and then we also want to accept the changes again. And there it is. It's going to be checking the stores, and then it's reading the package lists, and that's it. Now that the lists are updated, we can run the full update or not. So let's go back to our thing, and we want to do sudo apt full upgrade. Sudo apt full dash, and then hit enter. There it goes. Let's let this go after we click on yes, and we want to continue downloading 300 megabytes of updates here. Click on yes, and there it goes. We'll let this work, and when it's all finished, we'll come right back. Okay, most of the process is done. We got a change log here that we want to click on return here, all the way to the bottom, hold on return, and then click Q to quit. And then we're back at the installation here. And now it's got a progress. We'll be right back. Okay, we're just about done. Progress is 99% of the update. The update took a little bit longer, about 15 minutes or so. And again, depending on the speed of your Mac or the speed of your hard drive, it could take less or a little bit longer. So we'll give it a second or two more here, and it should be finished. Okay, we just finished the update, so all we need to do is reboot the Mac Mini here. We'll click on the Raspberry Pi, and then click on shutdown, and then we'll click on reboot. Here's our chime, We should see the Debian's boot selection screen. We don't have to click anything. If you're having problems booting into the operating system, you can click down and click on the advanced options, where you can almost boot it up into safe mode for repair or any kind of troubleshooting. If you leave it as is, it'll automatically boot right into Raspberry Pi Desktop OS. Okay, we're back on the desktop and we're fully updated. Now we can talk about Bluetooth, wireless, and sound. As you can see here, we have full Bluetooth. It's already on. If you wanted to add like a Bluetooth mouse, all you need to do is click on Add Devices and it will do a search for Bluetooth devices. As you can see here, we have full Wi-Fi and we have full sound. And if you can see, what's nice is if you have an Apple keyboard, it can actually use the F11 and the F12 sound keys to be able to lower and maximize the volume sound. Now, if we wanted to do a quick test, a lot of you might be wondering about the performance. The performance is working very well for this old Mini with an old spinning hard drive. It doesn't even have an SSD. So when we click on the Chromium, let's go to YouTube. Pull up the old Monterey video here. As you can see, it's loading up here. And there we go, look at that. So what do I think of Raspberry Pi Desktop OS? I'm pretty impressed. The speed, the usability of the operating system is really nice, and this can be a real contender when it comes to picking a operating system that's updated and secure for your older unsupported Mac. I still recommend using macOS Big Sur, Monterey, or macOS 13 when it comes out, using OpenCore Legacy Patcher, but it's nice to have some different options to be able to try. For example, if you're a really big fan of Raspberry Pi, you might love this on your old Mac. Talking about Chrome OS, for example, my last video, that was really polarizing for my viewers because a lot of people are saying, why would you want to install Chrome OS on your old Mac? And the bottom line is that if you use Chrome OS at school or work and you like using it, that person might end up enjoying using their old Mac with Chrome OS Flex. So it definitely is not for everyone. And just like the Raspberry Pi OS is not for everyone. But the whole point of this is being able to give multiple options for you to be able to keep your older Mac updated and secure. In future videos, to continue this series, to be able to install newer operating systems on your older unsupported Mac, I'm thinking about trying out Linux Mint. A lot of you in the comments said, hey, I've tried out Linux Mint and it works really well, and I think it would be a great video to try out next. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see, or if there's another version of an operating system or a Linux flavor that you would like to see me go over in another video in the future. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video or created value for you, I'd appreciate a thumbs up or a share. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, click on that subscribe button. And if you want to support me in the channel, you can always join my Patreon. I really, truly appreciate all my Patreon members. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.